Yeah.
Everyone, we are here with writer-director Addison Heimann, Lou Taylor Pucci, Olivia Taylor Dudley, Jordan Gavaris. Gavaris?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
What is
So,
it? Gavar, what is
no,
it?
no, that's right. It's Gavaris or Gavaris. I mean, like everybody says Gavaris. It's just a
See,
choice. You
One
want to
do you
drop
like more? Which one do you like more?
Gavar,
Gavert?
Gavaris
Gavaris.
sounds quite fancy. Like I have to be honest. That's not what I
Uh,
grew up with. I grew up with Gavaris, but Gavaris, which has been honestly my other moniker from the time I started working in the business, it just sounds really quite European, and I like it. I
Okay,
really like
so we're gonna go with that.
it.
And and then of course, last but not least, Marlene or Marlena Forte.
It's Marlene. Either
Marlene
way,
Forte.
yes.
Uh, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's a pretty heady moment. You guys are all gearing up to head off to Sundance. Who's excited?
Excessively.
Yeah, let's all just raise the roof like the millennials
Let's
that we
just
Like
are.
this.
is this anybody's first time going?
My first time.
My first time.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. And Lou and Olivia and Marlene are like, oh yeah, we're old hats there. Like, yeah, yeah. These like Sundance darlings over here.
Oh
Well,
my
you guys
goodness.
also have done so much film. Like I was saying earlier, I've been in the pressure cooker of television for the last 15 years. I've done so few movies and I've done so
Wow.
much TV. And you don't go to Sundance when you do TV.
No,
You like, the TCAs, but that's not Sundance.
no. I mean, they do a few episodics and things like that, but you
Oh,
know.
we were never invited to those.
Well,
But I bet they're great.
yeah, I guess I haven't covered them. I'm sure they're lovely. But so Addison, let's start with you first and can you tell us about the project, about the film Touch Me, what it's
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. So Touch Me is the story of Joey and Craig, two codependent best friends who find themselves at the compound of an alien whose sexual touch removes their anxiety and depression. And they become so addicted to him that they start vying for his love and start bickering and fighting as friends often do when they're in a love triangle with a sexy alien from outer space. But it is essentially my giant love letter to Japanese cinema of the 60s and 70s, and is an exploration of my obsessive compulsive disorder and my dealing with that, and what an imagined world in which I get the opportunity to fuck an alien and no longer feel anxious and depressed.
I mean, this is really all that we want.
Yeah,
And,
honestly, right?
and,
Yeah.
at the end of the day. Now who plays the two best friends?
I played Joey.
Like
Okay,
Craig.
you're Joey and you're sorry.
Right.
Okay. And you guys are besties. The log line talks about uh a disaster leaving the house smelling like poo. What's that about?
Jordan?
Well, yes, it was my fictional home. It was I
I
think
guess it's also technically your fictional poo.
I mean, it's yeah, it's
Was it
technically.
Unless
mine?
this
Well,
is a
no,
doc that I'm not aware of.
it's a
Sewage.
collective poo,
Okay.
but
So
also it's
the poo of Los Angeles
the poo of Los
backed
Angeles.
up in the shower, and Craig and Joey are so. By the way, I've been describing the movie as two millennial idiots, two millennial codependent idiots. I'll put a
Millennials.
name, Brian,
Millennials,
but
yes.
they are dysfunctional, codependent people who just can't adults like that. That's just not in the cards for them. They have a serious failure to launch syndrome to the extent that they don't have enough money to even fix this problem that has just literally exploded in their bathroom. And they have no choice but to take refuge in Brian's compound until they can figure out what to do with their house.
And it's also based off the real life experience of poo shooting up from my shower. Oh yeah,
No.
yeah, legitimately happened.
Okay.
Like because I have a house that was flipped, and so when you have a house that was flipped, there are things that just come up where you don't. So my entire drainage system had been filled with roots, and so it had been leaking sewage water in the base of my house for a while until all of a sudden, like the toilet's not working, and I'm plunging the toilet, and then out of the shower it just goes blah 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 blah, blah, and I was just like,
Oh,
oh no. And so that
so
was a
so
lot of money to
art
fix.
imitates life now.
Yes.
This we know this. So Lou, you play the alien, I'm assuming?
That's right. Yes, I play Brian the alien. I pretty much took it from, just he's a magical creature and he's showing them this magical world. And so I was kind of being influenced by like Gene Wilder and also Tim Curry from Rocky Horror Picture Show because he's just so sexual. And this is a very sexual film.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, Marlene, where do you come in?
Kind of like the Rensfield to the monster, or his caretaker, or slash lunatic.
Oh yeah, I was constantly afraid of Marlene every way.
Excellent. Not the Loomis, the Renfield.
Yes.
Gotcha. So you're kind of a caretaker to this benevolent sexualized alien, and there you go.
Well, and
So-
that's the question. Is he benevolent?
Yeah,
Or
well, see,
not.
there we are,
Yeah.
But I mean, if they're having a good time, but
They
We had
they
a great
are at
time doing it.
first.
They are cursed.
It's like the beauty, like I think I forget who described it like this, but it's like Brian or like it's like a cult of one or a cult of few. Like there's so many men who like I think they would just be cult leaders if they weren't so lazy. And so basically it's like, with cults, it's like it's always good and then it's not. And so it's like that kind of, that kind of thing of just like, of course he's this benevolent creature until we start figuring out that maybe he's not what he seems, and that has to be there because it's a horror movie, and like or like eventually like
yeah,
things
and
go
there has
wrong.
to be conflict and a turn, and
Yeah.
but can you talk to me about kind of how this project came about, Addison, what inspired it?
Yeah.
And I went through your director statement and I really enjoyed what you said there.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So basically, I get depressed every so often. Good for me. Have you ever heard about it? Depression. And
Yeah.
I made my first feature was all about like my mental breakdown and how I like overcame it. And then I overcame it and then like eventually started getting depressed again. And I was like, well, fuck you. And I had watched this movie called The Untamed, which is this amazing Mexican film in which there's an alien in a shack that fucks people and makes them feel euphoric. And I was like, I want to feel that. I want to go to there. I want it now. And I had been learning Japanese for 5 years and was obsessed with exploitation films of like kind of female revenge exploitation films of the 60s and 70s, stuff like Female Prisoner and Lady Snowblood, and of course House, which is like I think one of the biggest kind of influences in the oeuvre of what I'm homaging. And so I created this world about, I was also going through a devastating friendship breakup at the time, and I was trying to like figure it out of like what went wrong. And I think it's sometimes friendship breakups like feel way worse than like relationships that exist. And so
Yeah.
I just kind of created this world in which these like two codependent friends, like honestly kind of both versions of me, and also versions of other people that I know, like just like trying to figure this out. And it's just kind of a meditation on like, what if you could have your world rocked and no longer have to feel anxiety anymore. But, ultimately there is only one thing that kind of does that in the real world, and it's called drugs. And so it turned into this story about addiction and what you're willing to do, and that kind of uglier sides of humanity that come out when you're trying to chase that dragon, rather than actually physically deal with the problems that you're dealing with.
Wow. A heavy that's what's so much fun about horror to me is
Yeah.
you can have these lovely, this fun, surface story with
Yeah.
a really deep metaphor. So how did everyone come together and get involved with the project? Were there auditions? Do you guys know each other?
I'll
Olivia.
start because I'm the second
Oh,
one
yeah,
around. I've worked with Addison on Hypochondriac. I auditioned for him during pandemic, and now he's stuck with me for the rest of his life.
I wrote this part for her.
Love that.
Yeah.
He did. He wrote this for me.
Yeah, so none of you are as special as Marlene because
No.
I'm
No,
just
but
kidding.
they're special now, and they're
Oh
going to
no,
take
they
over,
are
and
they,
Laura's
they
going to be
are no, they
upset.
absolutely now you're like Marlene, you're all stuck with me. I'm sorry. Like we have to keep making movies together, but that's
Oh
whatever.
no.
Oh
That
no.
sounds like the worst. Oh,
If you haven't figured it out, Addison is the alien, and you're stuck.
Oh
We
darn.
willingly are going.
That's a
I,
twist.
I also knew Addison a little bit because my husband was one of the stars of his last feature, Hypochondriac.
Okay.
We didn't know each other very well, though. Like we just kind of met over coffee, and it was about something else. And he happened to be telling me a little bit about this project he was in the throes of putting together because he was literally in the thick of the casting process. And I can't remember if an actor had just dropped out or maybe you were worried they were going to drop out and then it happened. I don't get offered things very often. Like I still, have to fight for a lot of what I really want to do. So this was really generous and special when this script just came to me, and I was already such a fan of Hypochondriac, and I knew Addison was a really promising filmmaker, and I just thought this is within the first, 5 or 6 pages, because there's something quite unique that opens the film. I just thought I had to do it. I would be an absolute idiot if I didn't do this because he's going to make extraordinary films, and this could be one of them, and I could be a part of it. So none of what then proceeded fazed me too much because I dove in willingly. And it is, I think Buck Wild is a great descriptor for this film.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Lou, how did you become involved?
So Rustic Films, David Lawson, Aaron Moorhead, and Justin Benson. I'd worked with them before in a movie called Spring long
Oh,
ago. And
love that film.
yeah, they made that, and also now they have been working. Well, Aaron and Justin have been working on Daredevil. I got to work with them on there, and they were looking for who would be insane enough, I think, to take on this alien role and play this part that I just it doesn't really say on in the script, like what this guy is really like. It's just you have to figure it out. And I am attracted to roles that scare the shit out of me. But it took me a second because I had to read the script 3 times to make sure that it made sense. Because the science fiction of it is so complex at times that I had to sit down with Addison and just like pick his brain for 3 hours and try to figure out if this all really had been well thought out, and it was, and it wasn't some flippant comedy script that somebody was just like, hey, I just think this is funny. It was a really thought out full world, where Addison's science fiction brain created an entire system of how this stuff works. So that really blew my mind, and I said, yeah.
That's wonderful. And Olivia, what was your reaction when you read the script and, got the part and
I got similar to Lou. I had worked with David Lawson, the producer, on a film before called She Dies Tomorrow, and we became good friends. And he called me up one day, and I was about to leave town to go film this other movie 2 days later. And he's like, "Hey, are you down to shoot this really wild movie that involves like alien sex? I think, he's like, you're weird. I think you'd be into this." And I was like, "Sure, send it." And I read it right away, and I loved it. I was laughing the whole first like 10, 15 pages out loud, which is so hard to do when you're reading a script, to laugh out loud. And I was like, oh, this is incredible. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need to meet with the director. And he's like, great, meet with him now. So like 2 hours after getting the script, I met with Addison, and we just sat down and talked about our joint mental illnesses and what the script means to us and these characters. And I just felt so at home with Addison. And at the end of that meeting, he's like, do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yes. And then I don't know. I mean, the script is just full of so many wacky, zany, crazy, wild, weird, sexual sci-fi things, but it's also a human film, and it has so much humanity and so much that I think an audience will relate to. No audience is going to relate to fucking an alien, but they're going to relate to anxiety and trauma and things that we go through as humans. And he just does an amazing job at writing this dialogue that feels so real. Like, I don't know, you guys. I mean, we talked about on set, like the dialogue is like it just comes spewing out of my mouth in a way that other people just don't write like that. And I don't know. I just felt like I read a script that had me as Olivia in the role. Like I don't, it's so rare I play somebody that feels so close to home. And Joey just felt so close to home, and Addison is just such a genius. It was a
I
no-brainer.
love that you
Please don't
mentioned.
throw that around because you know that'll go straight to my head. We can't do that. We cannot do that. Oh, it'll go straight to my head, and then I'll call myself. We'll go back and forth. I'll be a piece of shit one day and a genius the next day, and that'll be just the cyclical nature of my
Perfect.
mental illness.
You can check the calendar and see what mood you're supposed to be in that day.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But I love how you mentioned the dialogue being something that was easy to deliver. And dialogue is often pretty hard to write. But Addison, how do you put the dialogue together? I mean, how do
Yeah.
you write? How do you write your
I
dialogue?
Yeah, I mean, so like I finally found something that works for me. The way I work this is like I pretty heavily outline, because I find that the thing that like gets in my way the most is story, and then because my favorite thing to write is dialogue, and I come from theater, I come from a playwriting background, so dialogue is like my most important thing, and I write. This is like I write like people talk, I guess is like the best way to describe it, just in the sense that like I write very improvisationally. So like when like I need to have these scenes prepared. I'll journal for like to basically figure it out over and over and over again. Then I'll create an outline, and then once I have that all down, then I'll start writing. And then the writing comes in very like quick spurts because it's already all planned, and I just get to have fun with these like these are just like natural kind of sounding dialogue, and that's the kind of shit that I like to like explore and write, and also like create comedy and that stuff, because it's just I write like I'm improvising, but with like obviously heavy parameters that make it easy to like improvise within the script rather than like having dialogue necessarily planned out. So
Right.
yeah.
You're able to kind of like hear it in your head and
Yeah, just it's like you mean you hear me the way we're interviewing, like I'm saying things and I'm word vomiting, and then I like apologize for it right after because I have a filter that does not exist, and I have like foot and mouth syndrome. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, I have to ask for forgiveness. I can never ask for permission. I'm so sorry. But that's fine. Listen,
No, but these are
we
my
all work
favorite
on
types of
it.
interviews
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're conversational and they're natural and they're organic.
Yeah, just wait
Um,
till you see me do a Q&A and you'll go, Jesus, is he okay or is he having a seizure? Like
Fabulous. So, what? Oh God, are you guys anxious about the reaction to the film? Are you? I mean, have you gotten any other reactions thus far? Uh,
Yeah, I mean, listen, is it going to be everybody's cup of tea? No, but I think it will be a certain someone's extreme cup of tea. I think, which is like, I think basically what we're discovering. We've had a couple test screenings, and which were very positive.
Good.
And hey, Sundance liked us, so that means there's probably somewhere where somebody like where you can find the freaks and the weirdos and the ones who want to talk about mental illness and stuff. But like,
Also, we love it. Like, I think that's and I genuinely mean this. Like, I can't sort of overstate it enough. When you love something, when you think it's good, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is just me. I don't really care what anybody else thinks. It's awesome if they love it. I hope they do. I'm desperate for them to, because it means the movie gets a life and it hits screens and people see it and they're moved maybe in the same way that I was when I read it. But yeah, the heartbreak of someone saying they don't like it is inevitable. It's going to happen. But like,
Well,
I
yeah,
think
it's not going to be everything for everyone. It's
right.
just
David Lynch talked about that all the time, and God rest his soul. That
I
was a
was
hard
about
one.
to say.
Yeah, that was a really tough one. But I think about that all the time because I'm like, you're right. If you just accept the heartbreak is coming, there'll definitely be dissenters. There'll be people who don't like it. It doesn't matter. Even if there's only one person that shows up to the screening and they say to you afterward, like, that was amazing. That's it. That's all that matters. And I think holding on to that is the thing that can get you through the angst and anxiety of worrying about whether or not it hits big.
Mhm.
I feel like at Sundance, the thing we have going for us, what I'm most excited about, going back to like having a film in the midnight section, is there's no other movie there like this movie this year.
Mhm.
And that is an exciting thing to take to the festival. There's no other movie that has our log line. And so whether people like it or not, I think it is a movie that people will talk about and will affect people. And that's exciting. That's an exciting thing to have.
Yeah, and the Midnight Block, the energy in that particular crowd is so much fun
So
because
fun.
they are just there for it. They want they want to see something that's just going to take them on a crazy journey. So I think you
Well,
might,
this is gonna do that.
yeah,
Definitely
sure.
You'll
We
go
Uh,
went on a
somewhere.
crazy journey shooting it. Like I think it's not. I would like to say, I know everybody wants to go to Sundance, and everybody wants to get an award, but when you're doing any kind of art, if you have the end in mind, it's a real bummer.
Yeah.
It's a bummer for the journey. It's a bummer for the project. And I think for me, for this journey, and I've, been on many sets, I've been doing this a long time. The fact that even Lou was like, we at the end of the night, we didn't want to go home. So we enjoyed making this movie so much that if the audience enjoys it half as much as we did making it, then we've succeeded.
wow. I mean, and that's it. Um,
You
Making it
know,
for yourself, and if others enjoy it, that's wonderful.
I think so.
So, yeah, very good. Well, I mean, I'm gonna be there. I'm hoping to be at the premiere. I cannot wait to see it. They did offer me a screener just to watch for the interview. I was like, no, 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 no. I want to be able to just go in cold
Yeah,
and just see everything. And yeah, it's definitely one of the ones I'm excited for.
amazing.
So
I'm excited to talk to you once you've seen it. Now that
I
you've
know,
told
me
me
Yes.
too.
we're
Yes.
seeing this
I'm
wild
not.
movie, that'll be fun.
Like
I
we have
come out of the
primed you,
screening and
but
I'm
like
like,
we have not primed you. Like that's the thing. Is it's like you think you know what you're about to watch, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll see.
We're holding on to all the juicy parts.
Yeah.
then bring it. What I'm living for.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Well, I do hope to see you guys at Sundance, and
Yeah.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
But best of luck on this screening and the just the crazy adventures you guys are gonna have. You guys are gonna love it so much.
Thanks so much.
So, best of luck and thank you for taking the time. And I'll see you guys in Utah.
See you in Utah.
Cheers. See you in Utah.
All righty.
Bye.
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 Bye.